Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while. So much has been going on here. We haven't necessarily been winding the kids' homeschool down. We've just kind of shifted a few things because it is summer, and so we try to do not as much homeschool in the summer as we do during the year. But also my husband has started a new job. My oldest son has actually come back. This was a few months ago, but it's just kind of been a process of sort of, adapting and figuring things out because he has had some health issues, which now he is doing a lot better. He's actually getting ready to go to college online, but he'll be here with us probably through most of that while he's saving for a house. Yeah, so there's that, and just the normal everyday life things that we have going on. I've still been working in the garden. I've still been doing my things around the house. Nothing has stopped. I've just been busy and very, very tired because I have to get up with my husband at like 5:30 to fix his lunch every morning. So I'm kind of on his schedule. But anyway, I wanted to share with you guys what's going on with the garden today. Just kind of show you guys where we are, what I'm growing. I did shoot some video footage last month to show you guys where I was with the gardening, but I didn't get that video up. I didn't get that video edited at all. So I may insert some of the clips here so that you can kind of see the progression of the garden, but I'm definitely going to turn this camera around and show you guys what I got going on. There's definitely some things that need to be harvested, so maybe we'll go ahead and harvest that. Yeah, and see if anything needs any immediate attention. But let me go ahead and show you guys what I do have growing here on the porch, and just right outside my porch I have some flowers. I wanted to do 2 containers of those flowers because I have another little growing pot that I got from Walmart that I bought some mums in, I think a couple years ago. Now I'm growing marigolds in those, and so I actually wanted to do another round of the dwarf marigolds because they're actually the perfect size for those pots. So I'm probably going to plant more of those just to see if I can get another pretty pot to put on the other side of my little my front steps just outside of this covered porch. All right, guys, so right here on my porch, I do have some of these alpine strawberries growing. They are going to be quite small. I will tell you guys, I didn't realize that they were going to be that small when I decided to grow them. But they are cute. They have like some of the prettiest little flowers on them, and they are loaded with berries right now. There's berries on all sides of this plant. There's a lot of new growth coming up from the bottom, so I'm kind of not too worried about, some of the discoloration on some of the leaves. This plant has actually been through some very, very cold temperatures this year, as well as the quite warm temperatures that we are experiencing right now. We have definitely hit the 90s here in Tennessee, but we kind of do have some cooler nights. We've been in the 60s the last week or so in Tennessee, so that actually gives my plants a good amount of hours to sort of rest and recoup from all of the heat. But if you guys can see here, there's berries there. This one is actually quite tiny, but it is on its way to becoming very ripe. I still have flowers on this plant, as well as just some other little small berries that are starting to come up. So once I get ready to harvest those, I will come back and show you what's going on with that. All right, guys, just outside of my porch, which we absolutely need to do some repairs to, I have these really pretty dwarf marigold flowers. They are gorgeous. My favorite ones are the bright orange ones, but I really do like these as well that kind of have the 2-tone colors in them. I still have a ton that are budding, and I do have some that have just sort of dried up and they're getting ready to go ahead and just drop seed or whatever. But yeah, this is my pretty little marigold pot. It's not very big. I'm gonna try to show you guys. It's not very big, like, at all, because this is a dwarf plant. I did get this stand from Walmart as well. Right next to it, this is actually a seed that I had planted, and I thought it wasn't going to come up. I actually, it just left it outside in the rain, and as the cup kind of started to dry out and the weather started to warm up, this plant sprouted on its own. So I have an extra little tomato plant that I'll probably find somewhere for it to go. I do have 3 tomato plants in my garden right now, but we'll see if we can find a little spot to add this, because I don't know if we could ever have too many tomatoes. Before we go to the garden, I'm going to go ahead and let these girls out and this gentleman so that they can get their foraging for this week. They're super excited to come out. Come on out, guys. They're actually following me because they think I have food, which I don't. All right, guys, I am headed to my garden. Before I go in, I actually want to show you guys all these berries that we got growing. Look at all these blackberries. Oh my goodness, guys, so many, and they go all around the garden. If you guys can see, there's some there, got some there, and they just kind of go all the way back. This whole bush is just chocked full of these blackberries. We're just waiting on a lot of them to ripen, and there's even some more down there. But guys, we have loads and loads of them, like on the bushes up and down our driveway, all in our backyard. Yeah, we can never, ever pick them all. So that's gonna be exciting to go and pick blackberries. Now, we'll say I do usually like to have like all these vines cut from around the perimeter of my garden, but because these are blackberries and we really want to get a lot more than we did get last year, because we had quite a hard summer last year. We didn't get a ton of rain and it was just hot, and so the berries just did not do that well last year. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what's going on, what's doing well, what's not doing so well, and what I need to go ahead and pay attention to. So I guess I will start right here. This is one of my pepper plants. And guys, I wish I could tell you which type of pepper plant this is. This is why you label your plants. But I think this is maybe one of my larger pepper plants. I'm not sure. It has peppers on it already. It has like, let's see, I see 1 pepper on it. If you guys can see it hanging down right there. There may be some up top. Let me see. Yeah, there's some peppers in there. There's just a few kind of all around this plant, but I do think I need to go ahead and water it. Yeah, and then all of these plants right next to it. So this is this pepper plant, and then right here next to it are a lot more pepper plants. Now this is the pepper plant that I'm super excited about. I know one of these plants is my jalapeno pepper plant, but I'm actually thinking that this is not the jalapeno plant, that this is my French pepper plant, which I cannot pronounce the name of it, guys. I'll put it on the screen for you. But I was super excited to grow this thing. And guys, this thing has a ridiculous amount of peppers on it. If you guys can see, there's flowers all at the top. And if I pan down, there are peppers on this plant absolutely everywhere. So I'm super excited to see how many peppers I get out of this plant. It's definitely one of my larger pepper plants. So I am very excited to get peppers from this plant. I think this might be one of my cherry pepper plants right here. No, it is not. This is probably one of my jalapeno pepper plants, I think. We will see. Again, this is why you label your plants. But I do need to stake these plants up because they are starting to get really chocked full of peppers. And this stalk right here, if you guys can see, is really, really thin. And once it starts to put on peppers, it is probably going to topple over and the stem is probably going to break. So I do need to find a little stick and stake it up. All right, the one next to it has a ton of peppers on it as well. And I think this is about the same. Well, no, I don't know if this is the same kind of pepper as the first pepper I showed you. They all kind of start out the same. So I'm not sure if this is the French pepper or if it's my cherry pepper. But I planted like several different kinds of peppers. I got sweet cherry peppers, I got bell peppers, I got these long French sweet peppers, and then I have jalapeno peppers. So we will see which of these is which once they mature a little bit more. But guys, if you could just see the amount of peppers that are on these plants, this kind of looks like a cherry pepper plant to me, because these are a little bit rounder, but this could very well be a bell pepper plant. I just think the bell pepper plants are a little bit larger than this. These peppers are not going to be that big, the cherry pepper plants. But I do have some more pepper plants on the other side of the garden. I'm going to take you guys and show you those in a second. But right next to my pepper plants is my zucchini plant. And I probably need to go ahead and pick this one right here. It's not that big, and I'm trying to let it get a little bit bigger before I pick it. I do have 3 of them on here now. I have this one that is it's not very big at all. It's maybe about 4 inches, 3-4 inches. It's not very big. So I wanted to get a little bit bigger before I pick that one. And then I have one that's a little bit smaller back there, if you guys can see. And then there's one right here that's kind of just starting to grow. But this plant needs to be watered really badly. It's actually not dried out. But yeah, these poor leaves look like they really look like they could use some hydration. Again, the pot isn't fully dried out. There's a little bit of moisture down there, but it is kind of dry. It's semi-dry. So I'm going to go ahead and water these in just a second. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this other plant. This is my second zucchini plant. This one hasn't put on any fruit yet, but there is definitely flowers. Oh, there is a fruit right there that is starting. I probably need to stake this plant up as well because it is falling over like crazy. So I probably need to go ahead and stake it up just to make sure that it does not fall over and break before I get all of my zucchini from it. All right, moving over here, I got some more pepper plants, and I do think this is a cherry pepper plant, guys. I don't know. I think this is a cherry pepper plant, but there's another pepper just like the one I just showed you. And there's tons and tons of peppers on this plant from the top all the way down to the bottom. And these are the exact same pepper plants. There's one right there. There's a pepper right there. If you guys recognize what kind of peppers these look like to you, please let me know in the comments. But I'm just judging by the size of the plant. When I grew the large size peppers last year, the plants were a little bit bigger than these, but I don't know. I did get them as actual plants from the store, so maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, I do have a lot of peppers starting to form on all of my pepper plants. This lettuce needs to be picked like yesterday. It is not quite bolting yet, and I'm shocked that it hasn't, but I do want to go ahead and pick it so that I can maybe have another round of it grow before it gets too hot to grow lettuce. I have this lettuce over here as well in my herb bed. I got some thyme, some parsley, some oregano, and of course my cilantro is completely done. It's been done for a while, but I do leave it here so that my tomatoes can be pollinated. Now I do have 3 tomato plants growing in this bag. Okay, these are Roma tomatoes, so these are bush determinate variety tomatoes. And I do have to come out here to make sure that I do not see any tomato hornworms, because I had a horrible infestation of those last year and I lost over half of my crop. But it looks like, I don't know, I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like so far I don't have any issues with that. I did plant some basil kind of all around the base of my plant, and I'm hoping that is what's helping to keep them away. I honestly have not seen any, but you know, it's really hard to see those. But I also haven't seen any of the signs that I have those on my plant. Like I haven't seen any of the little black droppings on the leaves. So I'm assuming everything is okay. And I do come out here absolutely every day to check on these plants just to make sure that they are doing well and healthy. And so far, so good. Yeah, these are growing well, and they have tons upon tons upon tons of tomatoes on the plants. I'll probably come back out here and plant a little bit more basil, you know, just so I can constantly have some basil growing around. I would like to actually eat this basil, but it doesn't look the best as far as like, I don't know, me being able to eat it. But it does seem to be growing and growing and growing and just kind of being present down here to keep away the tomato hornworms. All right, so right next to my tomatoes are my onions. And guys, this is my very first time growing onions this year. I do want to make sure that I get these pulled on time. I was watching some videos to see when I'm supposed to actually pick these, and apparently they say when the stalks fall over, they're pretty much done growing. And this one looks like the stalk has fallen over. It's not super brown. I don't know if it's supposed to be like fully brown or if it can be green like that, and then it's okay. Right here, if I can go ahead and pull it, but this one is quite small. It could be the way that I grew it. Maybe it's not going to get any bigger because of that. I know this one right here isn't going to get much bigger because it's way too close to that other onion. But most of these look fairly decent. They're going to be a fairly decent sized onion. Again, this was my first year ever growing onions, so I'm pretty excited about this progress so far. We'll let these go a little bit longer, and then we'll see, you know, if we can get a little bit more growth out of them before I pull them out of the ground. My next two growing containers have peppers in them. If you guys are surprised, yeah, I'm growing a ton of peppers this year. And I actually think these might be my cherry peppers right here. Some of these kind of got a little bit of a later start, but they still have tons of peppers. That one just fell off. But these have tons upon tons of peppers on them. They do need watering. So I am going to go ahead and water these here in just a second. But I do believe this is a cherry pepper plant. And I think this one back here, if I can show you, I think this one is my bell pepper plant. This one, I'm not so sure what it is. This pepper plant right here is really tiny. It does have some peppers growing on it, but this was one of my plants that I did bring out here a little bit too early, and it did suffer a little bit of damage because it was too cold for it to be out here. All right, right next to that grow bag, I have 4 pepper plants in here. This pepper plant, I don't know if it's going to get better and grow and give me any peppers at all. It just looks so sad and so pitiful. As do these 2 plants as well. I do think these were plants that I did bring outside a little bit too soon because I thought we were, you know, past our last frost. However, we did get a couple of more nights that were close to freezing. And yeah, these peppers did not look great when I came outside to check on them. But they still are somewhat green, but this one right here, it just will not get much bigger. So I'm probably going to go ahead and pull it. These 2 are still quite small. I'm hoping maybe they might grow and start to produce a little bit of fruit, but I may have to go ahead and pull them if they don't start producing as well. All right, guys, so right over here behind the zucchini plants, I have a huge grow bag of potatoes that I am growing, and I did grow these from some of the azure potatoes that I got that sprouted, and I just threw them. I let them go ahead and sprout. I cut them up into the appropriate sized pieces, and I just planted them around my grow bag, and I just let them grow. They are not ready quite yet, and I think that was part of my problem last year. I just did not let the potatoes that I grew go long enough. But I am going to go ahead and water these in again because everything out here looks like it could use a little bit of a watering. And it looks like some of the leaves on the bottom could possibly be picked off as well, if you guys can kind of see in there. But yeah, these are my potatoes. And then right next to my potatoes, I do have this bed. This has my cucumbers in it. And I did have to replant these because I did have cucumbers growing in one of the other grow bags, but they did not, well, they actually came up, but then we got a little bit of a frost and the leaves were completely destroyed. So I actually just replanted in here, and I think I overplanted because I'm seeing 4 different seeds, and I did transplant this one to this bag because I had it growing in with another zucchini plant, and you guys know there's no way all of those zucchini plants were going to grow up together. So I may or may not have to water this one. I'm going to go ahead and check and see, but I think this one doesn't need watering. This one needs watering way less than any of my other plants. This thing just really holds on to moisture, and I think it's actually okay. It doesn't need watering at all. So I'm not gonna water this one today, but I think I am gonna water this. And these are actually growing in some, like a mixture of some of the compost that we made, as well as some soil, some potting mix. And these are plants that I did kind of have growing in cups in the house, probably a little longer than they should have been. A couple of them didn't make it, and they were actually kind of growing together, so they didn't really have enough space to really grow like they needed to grow. There's weeds in here I'm picking out, but I just decided to go ahead and put these in here just to see how they would do, because guys, I really want some strawberries. I showed you guys the strawberries that I do have on my porch, and these are the same kind. These are the alpine strawberries, so they are not going to get very big at all. And again, like I said before, I didn't realize they were going to be this small when I decided to grow this variety. I just wanted to try my hand at growing some strawberries from seed, because I had bought multiple plants a couple years before and they just did not make it. And so I just really wanted to grab a seed packet and just have, you know, kind of more chances, I guess, for my plants to grow. Now, these don't look the absolute best. There's some new growth coming on this plant right here. It looks like all of them are kind of getting some new growth coming on them. This leaf is fried, but yeah, they got some new growth coming on them. And hopefully, you know, as I'm continuing to water them, and I did feed them recently with some fish emulsion, and I also fed them with just an all-purpose fertilizer. So hopefully they will do okay and they will not die in this super hot Tennessee heat. But guys, that is everything in my garden that I'm growing. It is so hot out here, and I do need to go ahead and get these plants watered so that I can actually get back in the house, because I am hot and it's starting to feel like my energy is draining. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and water these, and I'm gonna go ahead and harvest my lettuce. I'm on the fence about harvesting this zucchini. I feel like it's not quite big enough. I would like my zucchini to be a little bit bigger than that before I harvest it. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, any tips for me at all for any of these things that I'm growing. Oh, over here, I forgot to show you guys that I did plant some beans, and it does not look like they're coming up. I have no idea why they never come up. This is the bean that I planted. I have no idea why they just keep coming uncovered and they just don't sprout. But we're gonna try again. We're gonna probably bring some more beans out here and replant those. This isn't even like dry. This is actually moist soil, so I don't know if we'll wet that or not today. But this was my bean container where I was trying to grow some bush beans. Hopefully that'll work out for me. I'm not sure if it will or if it won't. I'll keep you guys posted. But that's everything. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the box below, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.